Robbie, let's start with the tour, shall we? It celebrates 25 years of absolute bangers. I would like to know, however, if this track is on the set list.
'Cause everywhere we go, I'm loving big engine instead.
Beautiful.
Guess I'm a Spurs fan now then.
Actually, now that you say it, yeah, that should be in the set list. Yeah, I'm going to add it. I'm going to add it. Thank you for that. You've just given me a great idea.
No, I think it'll go off.
You've got a doco out, which is a really deep insight into your life, which you've spoken about very publicly before, but what was it like watching it playback?
Oh, it was just an absolute trauma watch. It was deeply unpleasant, to be honest with you. You know, I think that people don't even like looking at selfies of themselves and hearing their own voice. And then if you multiply that by watching yourself descent into mental illness and agoraphobia and depression and anxiety, and you watching a nervous breakdown, you know, people don't... It's not a normal thing to do. But what I've found is, having done it, the outpouring of love has been unbelievable. And I didn't know until it happened how much I needed to be seen and how much I needed to be heard. And I feel as though I've been seen and I've been heard, and there has been this release, this rucksack of, I don't know, all of these things that I was carrying around for years. It feels as though there's been a release of whatever thatness is. So I'm currently on a high. I feel as though the world's hugging me.
Yeah, because does it feel like the world has seen your unedited self and still has risen to love you instead of having to be presented with a certain image of you?
I think that I have, you know, I became famous when I was 16, and I've never been in charge of the narrative of my life. And there has been, you know, nefarious dark forces at play that need to have clickbait and need to sort of examine the darkest, awfulest underbelly of every person that's ever existed on planet Earth for financial gain. And I've been a puppet in that, you know, and because of that, you read those words and you think, maybe I am an awful person, and you don't know how much it goes into your psyche. So to be honest with you, the whole Netflix thing was just, for me at the beginning, yeah, this will be great to put the wind behind my sails for the third part of my career. You know, kind of, I don't know. I wasn't cynical when I was talking about the trauma that I was going through, but maybe it was a cynical need for attention that I need for my job. But since it has come out, I can't believe what it's done for me. I didn't know how much I needed to be heard until I was.
Wow, it feels like a therapy session here. That was amazing, Robbie. You're saying you've been open about it and people have embraced it. You were part of the doco making. So did you have any say in what was included? And was there kind of anything you didn't want to be a part of, or you didn't want to show? Maybe you had a bad hair day and you thought, let's not put that in?
Mate, there's a number of, you know, images of me in there where I'm not looking my best, let's just say. And I didn't have a clue that I could take those out. You know, if I'd have known, I would have done. I just go around going, okay, that's the now. Oh, I do this now, do I? And it's just like, it's searingly honest, and there's things in there that other artists wouldn't put in, and I'm like, you mean you get a choice whether you put stuff in or not? You know, I don't know. I just know that I'm incredibly grateful for the response that it's getting.
Why did you feel the need, Robbie, to be so raw and honest in this way? Why now?
I've always been raw and I've always been honest, but it's always been for a pop soundbite for a news program, or it's always been for Or if I come on your show, which I absolutely love and adore, you know, it's sort of whimsy and it's fun and you get to be a larrikin. And but with this, you know, people have sat down with me for 4 whole hours and seen how I talk and what I do and how I explain myself. And it's the first time that that's happened for me. And it's probably the first time that that's happened for a lot of people on the planet. So I'm in a very fortunate position.
You said you got famous at 16. If you could go back and talk to 16-year-old Robbie Williams, what would you tell him?
I would say that in 33 years' time, every interview will have a question where they'll say, what would you say to your 16-year-old self? Make sure you come up with something good.
And you still haven't.
That's it. That's what I would say. Yeah, and seeing as though I haven't, you know, that guy doesn't know what to say.
Well, can I ask you a slightly different question to that? I mean, obviously you're in a good place now, but you've been through some pretty terrible times. You've told us in the past about how horrible really being as famous as you was, you know, at your prime, and how it's just about impossible to come out of that as a normal human being. Is there even a small part of you that if you could go back in time would choose a completely anonymous life?
No, absolutely not. I think that in one way or another, suffering with poor mental health was going to happen for me, whether I was a greengrocer or whether I was playing a stadium full of people in Melbourne. You know, so, you know, for me, I should be grateful and am that I became so successful that I could facilitate and afford help. So, yeah, I wouldn't change it because maybe I wouldn't be here.
Hey, Robbie, before we let you go, I've got a bit of a bone to pick with you. Actually, no, with your wife. A few years back,
Yeah, look, he's
she stole my Guinness World Record for smashing pumpkins. She did it 2 days after me.
Oh, my God.
She went bananas on those pumpkins. What are you doing to make her so angry?
Listen, my wife is an absolute machine. She is a complete athlete. And look, you know, you trained, you did the best that you could. Just take the L.
Yeah.
Well, it's a W for 2 days. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, the record,
that's
mate.
It's pretty good. Hey, Robbie's tour kicks off in Sydney on Thursday. For more tour info, head to our website. In the meantime, would you please thank the always wonderful Robbie Williams?
Namaste.